So if you really look at the custom object assessment, it would give you the objects present, because one of the questions that keeps coming is, well, what should I do with my the investments that have been driven in the last 10 years towards customization? What should I do with that? Should I be moving it along? Will it work in the new world of S4HANA, or should I make some remediation? Should I make some changes? We also have a custom code remediation tool as part of the digital process, which I'll be covering in the upcoming webinars, which is again based on AI ML. And if you really look at these reports, it kinds of gives a ranking in terms of the number of custom object types, the high significant report transaction. Of course, you can drill it down into the details and find more information about that. The total number of enhancements that we have in a given ECC, number of modifications, and the module with the highest number of enhancements. And of course, you can get more details when you click on this one. It's a demo version, so please feel free to log in and find out. And there's a trial version where you can connect your existing ECC system as well. And then it also provides a summary of the impacted objects, the impacted cases, because one object could have at least 10 to 15 cases impacted. And what is that we should be focused on? Should we focus on the high impact objects, or the medium, or the low before we make the move? Typically, the high impact objects and the high impact case are something that you would want to work on. And if there is any optimization that you can do with your existing system, so that is also something that we present. So if you look at it, the total number of impact analysis, it talks about the different ranges and what are the different queries that would impact in terms of the custom objects, in terms of field length extensions that has happened in S4HANA, the ABAP dictionary view. So you can keep drilling it down, and it gives a complete aerial view as well as a detailed view of how your current objects would react when you move to SAP S4HANA. Similarly, there are customers who look at optimizing their existing reports or data, and how they can do, because once you move to the cloud, you don't have the opportunity to do a select star, for example. You have to be very specific in terms of how you run your customization. So that's something that we provide here. And then we also talk about the high impact cases. You have the complete details, high optimization cases, right? And the relevant changes that has to be made in the code. As I mentioned, you can do it with a set of consultants, or you can use tools. And we do have something on the process side, which is again AML driven, and it's a self-learning tool that would try and remediate most of it, which probably I'll be touching upon in my next webinar. And the stakeholders who are involved in terms of these customizations, and the top notes that would be referenced for the consultants at the partner community, as well as at the end user community, right? So that is what we do on the custom object analysis. So for example, if you want to take a look at what happens, just click on this one, so you have a detailed view of how it is presented, right? So you have the top 5 custom packages, and how you have all the different kind of types, whether it's a program, SAP script, reports, and the number of custom objects attached to it. You also have a categorized view on the objects, the reports, when was it created, and then we also kind of try and attach this to the process, which I'll show it in a second, in terms of how all these reports and objects are being attached to a business process, and then the usage frequency as well, right? So that's also something that we do. Again, the best part, as I mentioned earlier, you could select a list of objects and start assigning it to the consultants who are going to work on it. So that's something that you can do. You can create meetings, you can create issues, you can create test cases, which is not something that I'm covering today, but eventually I'll do it in the upcoming webinars, and that would be more interesting. I'll do a deep dive on the other streams that I spoke about earlier. All right. So I spoke about landscape. I spoke about the process assessment, and we're still in the custom objects. As I mentioned, there are quite a lot that you can do here in terms of uh, how your customization is, and you could look at the impacted objects, the impacted cases, and what you might want to do with that, and it gives a detailed view in terms of the impact that has happened, the analysis area that it performs, the line number as well in terms of where you might want to change it. And it also provides what are the other objects that are getting impacted in terms of the table, in terms of the object type, and in terms of the application, and also provide a sample reference note. Now, yeah, there might be overlap with what SAP provides as a report, but then this is in addition to whatever I was showing you earlier, where you could do a remediation, uh, you know, through this application itself. So it reads any size of data. Typically, the time frame that it takes to run these kind of reports is probably around 3 to 4 days, depending upon the size of data, and that helps you to move to the new world, right?